things you need to know is assignability. If you're buying an ATM contract, is the contract assignable? What does assignable mean? Assignable means that you have the ability, or the person who owns the ATM contract, to assign it to the other person. Let's call it, for us in this particular example, that I could buy that contract. It has assignability language. Okay? Then the other thing that you need to know is there things or high points in that assignable language that you need to follow for the contract to be valid? One of the big things is there almost always is a notification to the merchant that says, hey, company A assigned it to company B, and then in the next 30 days, they have to notify that merchant that there's been a transfer from company A to company B. If that language is in your location agreement or the person that you're buying, then you got to make sure that you follow those guidelines. If you do not follow those guidelines, that location agreement could be null and void. So something that you should be aware of and you need to follow in case that's in there. You spend, let's say, $2,500 for an ATM. I got it all. I made my deal with the location owner. I'm going to place it. And why wouldn't I protect my investment? Why wouldn't I get him to sign some documentation? I know a lot of people say, well, why would he sign? He would sign because you asked him to sign. You convinced him to sign. You told him why it's important, so he'll sign, or she, the store owner, is going to sign. Keep in mind, you're going to have a $2,500 investment with thousands of dollars sitting in their business, and what happens if it disappears? What do you got? What proof do you got that you were in the location? And what happens if the location closes? Now you got nothing. Location closes, and guess what? You don't know where that store owner is. You finally figure out where the landlord is. You contact the landlord, and the landlord says, you know what? That guy owes me money, and that's my ATM. Even though your name's on it, your sticker's on it, you got the keys, you're gonna battle it out with the lawyer. Forget all that baloney and have the contract or the location agreement, because that'll secure your investment. One of the first things you want to do is, when you have your agreement, you want to make sure you have a disconnection or a termination fee. Usually what we try to do is we try to set somewhere between $100 and $200 if they decide to disconnect your ATM. And then the second thing we do is we put we make the merchant responsible for the lifetime of the remaining contract. So let's say you have 100, make it easy for math, you have 100 transactions a month. Your end, let's say, is a $3 surcharge. You give the location 50 cents, and you have $2.50. So $2.50 times 100 is $250 times the remainder of the contract. Whatever that is, let's say you have 30 months, so you got $2,500 actually you got $3,000 per year for 30 months. So that comes at $9 grand. You have $9,000 left on an agreement that the new ATM owner and or the location have to reimburse you. So Phil, what does that mean? That means no matter what the customer says, we have the ability to negotiate a better deal for our company. So I'll give you a perfect example. I went into a grocery store, I talked to the owner, I negotiated a 50 cents per transaction deal with the store owner, no problem, they loved the deal. And then when I went to sign the location agreement, they said, well, we just want to do a 1-year agreement. So I said, well, we can do a 1-year agreement if you want, but I can't pay you 50 cents a transaction. That is negotiated for a 5-year location agreement. That's a standard deal in our company. So if you want to go less, we can go less if you want, but I can't give you that 50 cents a transaction. We went back and forth with the store owner. The store owner realized, you know what? It's not a big deal. We're going to sign a 5-year agreement, and they did, and then we paid them 50 cents. So now we have a tool to negotiate that good transactional volume for ourselves, that good surcharge split, and if they don't want to sign that agreement for that long of time, we can always shorten that amount of time. We just also shorten the surcharge that we split with them. Now what happens is you have an agreement that you can take a lot of times, and this has happened more than once to me, where we go to fill the ATM, the business is closed, we call the store owner doesn't answer, then we're concerned, we go there, it's closed, still closed. Now we discover, you know what, that store owner in the middle of the night has left the business, and now our ATM is in the business, and we want to get that back. So we do our due diligence, we call a realtor. Sometimes we have to wait until the realtor comes in, call the realtor, we act like we were interested in renting the property, and now we get to the business owner who owns the property. They say, well, that's my ATM, even though it has your stickers all over it, even though you have the key for it, even though you might have still money in the location, you have to give them your location agreement to tell their lawyers that that's your ATM. And every time we do that, present that, the owner says, no problem, we'll meet you there, the realtor, open the door, you can remove your ATM at any time. So sometimes we just say, you know what, we'll just leave it here. And what's your time frame? You think you're gonna rent this out pretty soon? The owner says, you know what, I do have somebody who's looking at it, if you don't mind leaving it there. So we leave it there. Now we get the new business owner coming in the door. That's another way you can get a location agreement, because you got a new location agreement, because you got an old location agreement, and it works to your benefit.